What's going on, folks? Ted from Immersion here, and a happy early Christmas for those of you out there who celebrate. And I wanted to talk about today our good friends over at dScryb. Now, if you remember in the past, we've done a bunch of different things and sponsorships. We talked about the dScryb website and what it is. For those of you who don't know, a high level, it is basically a site that has a mass library of talented writers that allow you to pull from their various search engines and tags and things to come up with creative and immersive box text for you to use in your D&D campaigns, or really any campaign, because they have things like sci-fi and other things as well. So they added a bunch of new stuff recently, including audio for everything like ambiences, sound effects, and music, which we're going to dive into. But we're going to jump over there because I want to show you a handful of the different cool things that might be new to you, or, maybe you're seeing it now for the first time. So here is the dScryb website. As you can see here, it says this is one of their options. So it says fairy. A glimmer catches your eye, little more than a streak of light in your periphery. It flits, hovering for a split second before dashing away, leaving a trail of glittering spores in its wake. As its light fades, you catch the briefest glimpse of dragonfly wings and an inquisitive face. And then it's going to take us to Gnome's camaraderie. This is more of a line, right, rather than like a description. It can be hard for someone of my stature to feel brave in the face of such monstrous things, but when I stand beside all of you, why, I feel 4 feet tall. So anyway, there's that kind of stuff. We'll talk about some examples as we go through, and then we'll show about how to do compositions and all this other stuff. At the base level, I thought we could go to the store so you could see the different levels, because there used to only be 2 subscription levels. There's now 5, and there's also a very key and important distinction between the annual and the monthly plan. So at the base level, what you can see in front of me here is that the difference on the again, base is that you actually save 20% if you were to sign up with the annual version, rather than pay a whole thing up front rather than paying per month. So there's that. By the way, I do have a coupon code. It is Nerd Immersion, and it'll get you 10% off your first purchase if you are signing up for this. Which, by the way, I know it's last minute stuff given the fact that today's Christmas Eve. But if you're looking for a good digital gift for someone, I think dScryb is definitely up there for something. Especially if you're looking, there's different levels, right, for different things. So if we scroll down, we can see the cheapest option here is the player option. Again, this one designed if you are a player in the campaign or a campaign. And this is going to provide you with player-based scenes. They all have integration with Foundry Virtual Tabletop. And the reason that these kind of icons that you see here are yellow are because, we can zoom in a little bit so you can see, they're yellow because they mean you get some of them, and this is basically targeting things that would be beneficial to a player, right? Spells, items, and so on, all referenced in the first person. So you could be like, there's Fireball, let's say, which is the description of a Fireball spell, but there's lines in there that say, I cast Fireball, and it's you saying it in first person. Again, same option. We talked about the dialogue. We talked about the gnome camaraderie, right? It's going to exclude things like villains and shopkeeps because you are the player character. That makes sense. Storyteller is just going to give you access to places and monsters. I'm going to say your best bet is probably going to be Hero if you're not looking for audio, which is going to give you everything we just talked about and a variety of other things here, right? Way of the Word and requests. We're going to talk about what Way of the Word is in a little bit as well. It also gets you access to the maps, which also have dScryb clickable scenes written up for them. We'll show those off in a little bit here. And the important thing I wanted to distinguish is lifetime access to your scenes. If you sign up for the monthly version, you do not get that. The only way to get the lifetime access to your scenes is via the annual version. And it says it right here. Members who subscribe to Celestial Hero Plan on an annual basis maintain access to all scenes published prior to the subscription end date for life. So essentially, if you were to sign up today and buy a yearly subscription to either the Hero or the Celestial plan, you will have access to everything that's on dScryb site. Now, there is a bunch that is available for free, so if you don't like what I'm saying in this video and you want to play around for yourself, there are a bunch of free options that you can just go look at and see if you like it. But everything that exists previously, and then everything that exists from now until the end of that 1 year, so as of today, the 24th of December, 2022, everything from there all the way through December 24th, 2023. Anything released in that time, you will have access to those scenes in perpetuity forever. Whereas if you were to sign up for the monthly version, you wouldn't have access to that. The composer version here is, again, for people who just want the music, and then the granddaddy of them all here for $175 a year is the Celestial. That's all of the physical things, the maps, the written scenes, as well as all of the music, which is definitely you're going to get a lot out of this, and it can be a very powerful tool as long as you know what you're doing. So I don't want to belabor things too much about the scenes because we've talked about those at a bunch of the past, but if you were to go to this, you can see we have a variety of different scene options from everything. So let's go ahead. We were talking about spells before. So if I were to click on spells, it's going to take me to all of the different spell options that they have. Again, here are the free ones. These are the members only on this side. Excuse me. So if I were to say click Acid Splash, right, I'm going to pull up Acid Splash, it's going to give me a description of Acid Splash. So this could be me as the DM. Funny enough, this is actually written by Matt Cernit, who is an ex-Wizards of the Coast employee. And then I could say, all right, the enemy casts Acid Splash. A noxious yellow orb grows in your palm, or you cast it, or whatever it is. From a pea size to something more like a pumpkin, a greenish liquid sloshes about in the bottom third of the bubble. A single arcane word expels a puff of breath from your lips and blows the orb towards the target, where it pops, splattering sizzling acid. Now, that was me kind of describing it. Now, if we scroll down here, you'll see I cast whatever, right? Let's see. I ask my luck blade for a wish. I bestow a gift of readiness on myself. I break an elemental gem of blue sapphire, right? You see all this different options here. So we have I cast Acid Splash. We just read Acid Splash. So if I cast it, as I pull back a balled fist and speak the incantation, my mouth fills with burning spittle, teeth stinging. Then my blood itches down my arm. My hand burns. I throw a martial strike thrusting forward, ending with a quickly opened fist. Out flies a sickening green bubble, inflating like a balloon. It bursts over my targets and burns them while my body clears and readies for the next spell. Beautifully crafted things. I'm not going to say you want to do this every single time in combat, but there's a lot of stuff there for you to look through, and possibly if you want to maybe have a signature thing when you describe maybe the first time casting a spell, or the first time you unleash a very powerful spell, or something you've been waiting to be able to do. And then also something to bring your attention to are these tags. Right? These are a very good way to search through things. You obviously could just type things in and something will come up. But if you wanted to search like conjuration spells, player spells, sorcerer, wizard, or if you wanted to look specifically by the author. So that's what a scene is, right? This is, again, a scene for a spell. Okay, if we were to scroll up to the top, we could do the same thing with monsters. If you want to have descriptions for monsters or NPCs, magic items. Characters, there are also things like descriptions of people's actual characters in the game. We'll talk about that more in a little while as well. So you can see free scenes, characters, and heroes, right? So perhaps you want to have your character description added in here, and some of them even have art, which is pretty cool associated with them, which we'll also get to. I said I would talk about the maps briefly, so I just wanted to showcase some of the maps. We have a ton of different map options here. Endless dungeon, different rooms here, mountain area. How about this mountaintop observatory? Why don't we click on that? That sounds interesting. And then it'll scroll down here. You can see the interactive map. So we're going to launch that map right now. So here it is. Now, if I mouse over different parts of the map, you can see, okay, observatory telescope. And then I have a scene describing the observatory telescope. I can also see on the side here the different options. And then again, researchers, we have birds circling the mountaintop. Now, this one doesn't have any specific instances. We can zoom in and out if we'd like. Some of the maps also have variants to them. You can also download the maps, as you can see here, the map files, and it tells you all of the scenes included. But some of them have like, okay, well, what if this was this observatory in winter as opposed to the summer? And then the map will shift, as will all of the scenes that are there, right? It might now be talking about being covered in snow. I think this has one, okay? So here is this one, the mountain totem. We can see the skull and all these different options, right, as we mouse around. But this has a summer and then a winter, right? So then things are all different. Now, this is a good example of what I was talking about, right? Do we have another one? Do we have a spring or just summer and winter? Looks like just summer and winter. Yeah, okay. Either way, you get the point, right? There's different options here. So a lot of cool things there. That could be possibly make it enough just useful in and of itself with just that for a lot of folks. The scenes that we've talked about, as well as the the maps that you can drag and drop into your games as you see fit. Perhaps you have an opportunity where you're looking for a map for a scene, or you just come across a map on here and you're like, ooh, that's cool, I'll use that. So like I said, a variety of different options here. You can explore, search around, look for sounds, look for tags, or the various scenes here. You can also see, again, we have Enchanter Academy is obviously kind of like, magic school based kind of stuff. But like I said, there's a variety of different options here. We have deities and all sorts of different things, even Halloween specific ones. But what I want to show you about is the Sonic Library. This is the newest thing to be rolled out here at dScryb. And you can see Michael Gelfi produced some awesome music here. And I won't play the entirety of this, but this is the 30-minute track of just badass music. And it has a variety of different tones. Some are more ambient, but then there's also, I can find it like right around here. Yeah, like, awesome tracks, right? Lots of stuff. And you can see a variety of ambiences, music, and sound. I think those all are pretty self-explanatory, right? Ambience is your background music, hustle, bustle, people moving around. Music is music, and sound effects are kind of one-off little blips of sound. So if we go to ambiences, we can, again, these all still have the tagging features, and some of them, even the ambiences, also have scenes associated with them. So we can see a variety of different options here, and you can see some are fantasy, some are sci-fi. So you can scroll around and see like alien temple, basement water dripping, battle with monsters. Okay, how about battle with monsters in the city? So it actually gives us a scene here, right? A war horn, heroic and reaching, blares over fray. Fire ravages buildings and streets, and the shouts of soldiers can be heard between terrifying bestial sounds, a leonine growl, an elephantine wail, an eldritch roar. The scale and ferocity of these creatures is preempted by their otherworldly cries. And again, we have our tagging system. You also can bookmark these here, which will add them to your compositions, which we'll talk about as well. So let's go ahead and listen. A reminder, this is an ambience, so this is just kind of something you might have playing in the background. But when you build things in a composition, you can actually layer. So you could layer battle with monsters in the city with music, and then have key off sound effects if you need them. All right. And one thing that I will say is, if you haven't used music in your games, music is a really great tool to help immerse the players as well as bring the scene to life. There's a reason why composers are so, there's so many well-known composers or composers who do a lot of work on a lot of different movies, because music tells us how to feel. If you were to pick like your favorite movie that you always get really into and invested in, and then watch that movie a second time with no musical track, it'll be a very different experience. And it might be worth trying that just to see what I mean. So then we have music, okay? So we have a variety of different options. I also like that we have a theme, basically a theme song, for like a 30-minute little intro scene for all of the different classes, right? So if we were to say click on barbarian theme, we can hear the theme. So maybe if you're introducing a new character, here's the barbarian theme. All right, that's obviously very kind of tribal and singing. And then we have the bard theme. Very string instruments, lutes and mandolins and so on. Now let's see if we can get like was Battle Cry battle music? Yeah, I think so. So again, we could layer that with the ambient sounds we were talking about. And then again, sound effects are sound effects. I don't think they really need to be introed, but we have a variety of different options here. So, demonic gates opening. How's that sound? Okay. And then how about devil laugh low? I love that one. What else we got? Explosion trap. Okay. So variety of options, okay? So let's go ahead and head over to compositions, where this is kind of where you can bring everything together. So I have just this test composition here we'll use as an example. It just has nothing in it, so why don't we build it ourselves? So, okay. If we scroll down, I need to add a display name, so I'll just make it, we'll make it Ted. Okay. So, what you're seeing... Whoops. My... Well, anyway. What you were hearing there was the fact that this does have actually surprisingly high quality VoIP service in here. I somehow added myself in here twice, which was not my intention. But you can actually send a link if you were to go up here to invite players. You can either copy a link or send it to a list of emails, and people can actually come in here and you can actually use this as your means for talking. It's actually some of the highest quality voice over IP I've ever heard. It actually beats out quite a bit. So I don't know how. I don't know if it has recording functionality, but if not, I'll recommend that to dScryb, because this could be, possibly where you go to do your podcast. But the reason why you would put people in here is because this is a means for everybody to log in and the person who's controlling the scene, the composition, to play the various musics that they want. And rather than trying to do like the whole share your screen, like if you're doing Zoom, for example, like try to share music but not share your screen. There's a lot of funky ways. This is a simple way to get around it. So we have all of these toolbars over here on the side. This is where we could pull up compositions we already have, and it has nesting features and whatnot. So if we were looking for a scene, we could go ahead and here and type out any scene that we're going to search for, or we could just scroll through and pick something. I don't know. How about I saw a knight and their centaur companion or something like that. Okay, so we could say, let's add that. Okay, now it brings it over here. Okay, it's funny enough, this is actually from D4 D&D Deep Dive from Colby Paulson. So, a powerful equine body covered in lustrous dark hair blends seamlessly into the muscular sculpted torso of a dashing humanoid with flowing locks to match. The centaur moves with calculated grace despite their size. The sound of their thick hooves muffled, somehow distant. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but you get the point. But you see these down here? We can actually add ambience, music, and sound effects to this particular scene. So if we were to go to ambience, now we can search. We could say, this is our centaur. No. How about knight? No. How about horse? Horseback with environmental sounds. Save. And now you'll see that'll be added right here. So what if we wanted to add music to that? Okay, we want to add music. How about, let's see. Okay, we want to close this. Then we want to add, I was adding a second ambience, because you can add multiple ambiences to string those together. So let's go ahead and add a music. And we'll say, how about night? Is there a night? No, there's no night. Tavern at the end of the road, we'll call it. Right? And then we'll add a sound effect. Horse. Buff, maybe? Really? Cart? Let's add the enigmatic merchant cart. All right. So now we see we have all of these in here. We can click on them individually to play them. And I think there's an option if we just hit... and we could just hit this to play all of them, I think. So this we're going to try. There's our music. There's our merchant cart. We can play it again if we'd like. So up here this will stop all the music. If we click this, it'll fade us out. And then if we wanted to play one individually, we can control the sounds. If we want the sound effect to be louder, but the ambience to be less versus the music and so on. So if we click music, we can, this is the music volume, so we can go much louder. Now, another thing is if we were to add another music, let's say, it'll actually fade transition us pretty nicely. So let's see, ready, watch. Oh, that one actually didn't do it. It just cut us short. All right, what if we add... So now we have Tavern at the End of the Road and The Adventure Begins. So we could go ahead and hit play. Stop the ambience. So now we have that playing, but if we want to switch to The Adventure Begins instead... Oh. It was... I must be screwing it up, but there is a way to make it kind of crossfade. But you can hear you have a variety of different music, and we can add our merchant cart if we wanted to. And then again, we can also add notes if we wanted to add this, you know, it's whatever you want to call it. And it'll add the notes, but then you can see you could nest this underneath it if you wanted to. And build out however you want to build out your different composition components here. So there is, as I said, there's a ton of variety in the options as far as what music can go. And that's always usually one of the hardest things I find when you're trying to add music is where do you go? One thing I did want to bring up is this music is all royalty free and safe for streaming or your podcast or whatever the case may be. The only thing they ask is just, you know, if you do end up using it on a recording or a video or what have you, just like an attribute, like, you know, hey, music, sound effects or whatever it is provided by dScryb. But no, you know, they're not going to copyright strike or anything like that, which is always a good thing when you live in the world we live in right now. A couple other things I wanted to show off on the website before we close this out is one, they almost always have a giveaway going of some kind, so always check back. It's usually about once a month. This one is currently to win a year-long subscription to the Celestial version, as well as 2-player subscriptions as well. So that's pretty cool, and you can see it's like a Gleam kind of style giveaway, right, where you do different things to be able to you know, tweet them your favorite scene and so on. Now, a couple other things. We mentioned Way of the Word and some of those other things, and I wanted to talk about those, which is this submit section, okay? Because anybody actually can submit their own scenes for inclusion on to dScryb. So you can actually hear this first one here is a scene request. This is exclusive for Celestial and Hero members only. You can actually suggest, like, hey, I'm looking for something, right? So looking for something particular for your next campaign, we're always delighted to receive scene requests from our Celestial and Hero members and tune our collections for their needs. Our team of talented writers is always standing by, ready to bring your ideas to life. Just fill out the short form to get in touch. You can also see examples of previously submitted scenes below the form. So basically, here's what you need. Title, email, description. Would you like to take credit for envisioning this scene? So let's see, here are some that have been added from that people have suggested, right? So here's someone's handsomely devilish tiefling. Click on that one. This is from somebody over on their Discord. With insufferable charm and guile, this tiefling bows low with an air of implied nobility. The cut of their tailored clothing is exquisite and exudes an aura of beguiling confidence with many that many would struggle to resist. Polished umbral horns sweep back over meticulously styled black hair, and a quickened smile parts their crimson lips, revealing a hint of the fangs beyond. They are quite literally a handsome devil, as you can see there. So again, here's another one where it says the dark casting of cure wounds. This is from Tyler from rpgbot.net, and this was again requested by them, and you can see here's their whole description. So if you do happen to sign up at the celestial or hero level, this is something you have access to. Now there's a couple of other options. There's Way of the Word, which is something a little bit different, which is when you're most of the way there. But you like, the other ones request a scene. Hey, I'm looking for something. You know, I'm playing a half-elf paladin named Larentir, and I need a scene for him. Boop, boop. He's a nature-based paladin. And they go and write it. Right? You give them whatever information. Way of the Word is a little bit different. It says, create a fantasy scene such as a place, monster, item, or character for adventurers across the multiverse to encounter. Submissions are professionally edited in-house and published for use by GMs around the world. Way of the Word scenes are permanently free for everyone and a great way to contribute to the community or hone your craft. They also have a little thing about here about how to write box text, and you can also join their server. But basically, yeah, this is if you have an idea for a scene yourself that you've been either thinking about or writing, and you basically want to have a professional team of editors take it, adjust it, tweak it, and then publish it for you to have it be published on dScryb. That's what this is for, okay? Now, the last one that we didn't talk about here is the character submission, which is also really, really cool. Because it's a way for you to, one, not only get a scene for your character and get things described, but also it's a way for you to get art made if you'd like. So it says, tell us about your character or a player's character, and dScryb's writers and editors will distill the information into an evocative short description. Once published in the character collection, the character will begin to travel the multiverse, starring in major and minor roles across a multitude of other campaigns in addition to your own, such as the following 3-player characters: his lordship Sir Dale of the Dalelands, Gree Manquala, the half-orc champion fighter, and Tattoo Cirrus, the human Way of the Open Hand monk. So we have a couple of options here. It says only the requests of players with paid non-trial Celestial and Hero subscriptions are written and published. And it gives you the opportunity, and look, it's a whole thing for you to fill out all of this information for your character, okay? All of these different options, the game system that they're in, familiars, mounts, retainers. Would you like to be associated with your character? Would you like to link your D&D Beyond character sheet to it so that, let's see. Is it going to just pull us to somebody's? So here's Osbin Loreweaver, right? Played by Seth with D&D Beyond. If we click that, it's going to take us to Seth's character sheet on D&D Beyond. So if you wanted to see the male half-elf bard level 5, that is Osbin Loreweaver, you could see it right here. So you can actually link that to it, which will also help you and help the team possibly figure out if they're looking to use mechanics as an option, right? Estimated wait time for final delivery is 30 days. And you can see there's a variety of different options here. I wonder, is Saphira a dragon? Or is Saphira just somebody else choosing that name? Yeah, and again, here it is on D&D Beyond. So we can click Saphira and see who Saphira is on D&D Beyond. A female Tabaxi monk. That's level 7, right? So there you go. We have all these different options. So that's also, you can get your character described. They can be immortalized on dScryb, as well as linking to your D&D Beyond character sheet, which is pretty cool. And then you can leave that there, which I think is an awesome option. And something else that is pretty cool is if you go to the store, there is more than meets the eye here. So if we look at the store and we go to illustration, that's something else. Commission an illustration of your character. The samples below are actual dScryb character illustrations created by some professionals who will complete your commission. Choose your preferred style and transform your character into an epic work of art. So you can see they have a variety of options of designers that you can just have that happen, right? So here is black and white bust, black and white color with pricing for each full body. We have full body with a simple background. We have pet or familiars. And again, estimated final delivery is 30 days. But if you wanted to, let's say, like this character, this is George. Let's go look up George. I think that's how you say it. Is he on here? Let's find out. So, here you go. Click George. George, as you can see, has the character description written up on dScryb, the character art that was commissioned attached to that, and then also on D&D Beyond, right? The Bastion of Ice White Scales effortlessly bears the burden of full plate armor, a steel shield on his arm, and a mighty warhammer on his back. A flowing cloak draped from his broad shoulders adds a stateliness to his air. He has all the trappings of a magnificent and formidable fighter, of a tour de force on the battlefield, and yet anxiety ripples out from his pale blue eyes, befuddled his scaled brow. His toothy maws furled into a frown, and the frill extending from the sides of his head droops, sodden with fret. He twiddles his claws, the clacking sound accompanied by a nervous click his forked tongue. So this is him, again, a portrait. This is played by Tyler from RPGbot.net, which again links to his account as well. So if I were to make one, it could be linked to Nerd Immersion, and then again I can click D&D Beyond and then go and view his character here on D&D Beyond, a chromatic dragonborn fighter. So that's just a couple of the awesome things that the folks at dScryb are doing. If you don't know, they are also adding new scenes and things every week. You check back. There's also, I guess I should have mentioned it. I think I kind of did, but if you go to Explore, you can actually just click the new tag, and this will show you anything that was added and the date that it was added. For example, some of these right here were added today, the 24th. It is 4 hours, at least in my time anyway. It's 4:05 a.m. Right? These were, I see truly with my gem of seeing. I overhear a secret. I pour water from my decanter of endless water using the geyser method, right? Bordertown Tavern, Ring of Spell Storing. I'm struck by a fireball. Let's see. Let's actually do with I am struck by a fireball. This was yesterday. My world explodes in a haze of fire, heat, and pain as the fireball erupts, sending me sprawling to the ground. The acrid scent of charred leather and burnt hair fills my nostrils. I desperately try to stop the ringing in my ears and keep my vision from swimming. So, like I said, I'm a big fan of the team at dScryb. They're awesome. I love everybody there that I've met, and I think they're really doing a lot of awesome stuff. This is a really useful tool. Again, the fact that they have the Ambience, the high quality VoIP service, the fact that you can, if you sign up for a higher level tier, can go ahead and use that to get your character immortalized on there. You can also use that to link people. Hey, here's a description of my character. And then it'll link to your character sheet. The opportunity to commission art as well is pretty cool. That's going to be a really fun thing also to do, like for your DM or for your characters in the campaign, or as a DM looking to get gift for players or whatever the case may be. I'm actually going to work to get our character descriptions for my Tuesday night game, our Greek mythology themed campaign, to get all of our character descriptions into dScryb, and then possibly even look to commission art for them as well. So we'll have all of that, and that'll be kind of like our own little thing. And then we can use the sounds as well in the campaign, which would be pretty cool. So anyway, folks, thank you all so much for watching. This video ended up being a little longer than I anticipated, but there's just so much cool stuff for you to check out on dScryb. I had to show it all off. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.